Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, it is always a happy day on Nonstop Dan when I'm flying one of my favorite airlines, especially when it's been months since I last flew them. Today we're flying Singapore Airlines' shortest flight from Kuala Lumpur to Singapore and connecting onto a 2-hour flight from Singapore to Bangkok. We're used to getting minimal service on these types of flights in Europe and the US, either by getting this type of meal service, yes, that's all the service on some US flights, or this type of seat. Flying Singapore Airlines on these short flights is like another world. Let's dive in. I'm Dan and I've been reviewing airlines for over 10 years. I've flown over 160 airlines around the world and I've experienced almost all the world's most aspirational airline products on a self-funded journey to share the good and the bad of the airline industry with you. So thanks for tuning in. I'm so glad you're here. On today's journey, things start out a little worryingly. Okay, this is not good. The weather is absolutely terrible. And all flights are currently holding, and I already have a short overnight connection as it is, so I'm just hoping for the best. Last night when I landed in KL, there were major weather delays, so this isn't looking too promising as I proceed to check in. So my last video departing from this terminal at Kuala Lumpur didn't go great. Well, actually, it was a Saudia flight, but the one before that, flying down to Singapore, which I put up on my vlog channel, Nonstop Dan Vlogs, yeah, it was a bit of a fail. Luckily today I'm flying business, which I feel is almost a must from Kuala Lumpur Terminal 1 because the lines can be pretty crazy. The lines for some airlines are absolutely insane today. Luckily that's not the case for good old SQ. Okay, that's great. Pretty much no line for any check-in here at Singapore Airlines 2 hours before the flight. So good on Singapore Airlines for that. I'm just so excited. Even though I have 2 very short flights with them now, it really doesn't get better. I just love Singapore Airlines so much, and even before flying, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be impressed by what's to come on pretty much a 45-minute and a 2-hour flight. One thing I'm a little bit nervous about is that I have a 9-hour layover in Singapore tonight, where I'm gonna try to get as much sleep as I can. That might seem like a challenge, especially because the weather is so bad. Planes have been circling and my plane hasn't even taken off from Singapore yet. The crazy thing about Singapore Airlines is that on many turnarounds within Asia, they schedule less than an hour for wide-body aircraft. Today, my A350 for the 45-minute flight down to Singapore was scheduled to have just a 50-minute turnaround. So any delay will be pushed into the departure and lead to delayed arrival in Singapore, which I'm just hoping we can avoid as much as possible. Immigration wait times can sometimes be horrible here, but today that's not the case, thank goodness. Single best thing about Kuala Lumpur Airport, if I had to choose, it would be this. Wide-body flights depart from the satellite terminal at KLIA-1, so for the time being, getting to the gate requires a scenic bus ride across the apron and the taxiways. Eventually I make it and quickly pop into the lounge. Okay, so my aircraft just took off from Singapore, an hour delayed. I think that means it's gonna land about 40 minutes late, so hopefully my flight leaving here is only 40 minutes late. Hope for the best. Whoa, there we have it. Singapore, KL. So after missing my flight at Kuala Lumpur Airport in January for the first time in my life as an adult, I wasn't gonna risk it today. So even though my aircraft just landed 45 to 50 minutes delayed, I showed up at the gate on time because I don't want them to, for some reason, be closing the gate on time even though the flight is delayed. Luckily, they're not. So it's time to hop on board the first of 2 Singapore Airlines flights I'm taking in the next 12 hours. What a joy, what a joy. At 9 p.m., 30 minutes after our scheduled departure, business class passengers are invited on board our beautiful Airbus A350. Getting such a massive aircraft on a flight under 45 minutes will never get old for those of us who are av geeks at heart. Not only is this an A350, but it has Singapore Airlines long-haul cabin. Tomorrow I'll try their short-haul cabin, so this is a really special treat. Personally, I love just about everything about this seat, from the extraordinary width to the premium finishes to the coziness. I don't understand why some people don't like it, but hey, that means more Singapore Airlines seats are available for those of us who do like it, so it's a win-win. So fun AvGeek fact, today we are on Singapore Airlines' very first A350. This is line number 26, so it's only 8 years old, but that's, quite old by A350 standards. You wouldn't know it from the cabin though. Next up, a personal favorite, hot towels. Scented and everything on a 45-minute flight. Can we just take a second to acknowledge how nice it is to get a big fluffy pillow on a flight this short? I doubt it was replaced after the flight up to KL though, so I'm keeping it away from my face for obvious reasons. There's no pre-departure drink service on this sector, but there is a water bottle waiting at the seat. Check it out. I quickly pop into the toilet during boarding and realize it's stocked to the brim with lovely amenities and even SQ's typical towels to dry your hands. So that's what you're paying for with their high price tags. Soon enough, we're ready to depart and we blast off towards Singapore an hour behind schedule. Now you may be thinking, Dan, is that a TV? Yes, of course it is, and we can watch thousands of different entertainment options, if we had the time. With about 15 minutes to deliver meals and then collect them again, the crew hustle and manage to offer passengers a choice between cold soba noodles or a cold vegetarian gado-gado. I go for the latter and remove the eggs since I sadly don't eat that, and there's no option to pre-order a special meal on this flight. Definitely can't blame them for that. Guys, this dish, absolutely delicious. Okay, let's try the 45-minute flight gado-gado. My neighbors, these brothers and sisters, were asking to be in my video. Their dad approved, so here's their opinion on the soba. My seatmate Jude, what are you eating?
Soba.
Soba. Tell me if it's good. How is it? 1 to 10. 8.5. Not bad. Okay, meal served and finished within 20 minutes after takeoff. We're landing in 20 minutes now, already descending, cabin being prepared for landing, so it's literally just bam, bam, bam. Overall, this is pretty much as good as a flight this length gets outside the Middle East. What you can't see is how wonderful the crew are throughout the short experience, and before I know it, we touch down in Singapore and I wonder how on earth people justify paying over $600 for this flight when I'm teaching people to book it for literally a third of that. As we touch down, I realize, oh my god, I haven't filled in the Singapore arrival card yet. But lucky for me, I installed an eSIM before the flight, so I immediately have data and can fill it out while we taxi to the gate. No need to connect to Wi-Fi, get a new local SIM somehow, or pay insane roaming charges. I got my eSIM through today's video sponsor, Arlo, and seriously guys, this is an app I've been using at least monthly for the past 2 years. Arlo makes travel seamless, because I no longer have to get a physical SIM whenever I land in a new country or buy expensive global plans. I simply buy one of their super affordable eSIMs before my trip, and once I land, I have access to data roaming without needing to do anything, and I can keep my regular phone number. Arlo was so useful for me and Oscar when we were traveling to 100 countries because they offer eSIMs in over 200 countries and territories. And they even have eSIMs that cover entire regions like Europe, the Middle East, North Africa, and very relevant for me, Asia. So if you want to stay connected during your trip hassle-free, download Arlo right now at the link at the top of the description or by scanning the QR code right here. It's completely free and you'll only regret not having downloaded it later on. Once you're traveling and need an eSIM, use code DAN3 for $3 off your first one. Arlo has made my life as a traveler so much easier, and I hope it does the same for you guys. And just like that, in what felt like no time, we made it to Singapore. I haven't been to Changi Terminal 2 for probably 2 years, and excuse me, who gave this older terminal the permission to be the coolest at the airport? Oh yeah, and have I said I love Changi yet? Because this is crazy. I'm staying at the Crowne Plaza Changi Airport tonight, which is definitely known as one of the best airport hotels in the world. The only problem, which I didn't research too well, is that I know that hotel is in Terminal 3, but I didn't realize that Kuala Lumpur flights on Singapore Airlines arrive at Terminal 2, and my flight to Bangkok tomorrow leaves from Terminal 2. So now I'm heading from Terminal 2 to 3, and I'll have to repeat this all in the morning, but at least I'll get some quality sleep in a real bed, which I'm very excited about. So I'll see you all in about 7 hours as we head north to Thailand. Good morning from the SkyTrain, heading back to Terminal 2. I had, I guess, about 5.5 hours of really good sleep. Although 5.5 hours is not enough, I'm an 8-hour person, so anyway, I'm excited for another 2 hours on Singapore Airlines today on their regional business class as opposed to their long-haul business class that we had yesterday. But first, let's quickly pop in to the lounge after, you know, clearing immigration and everything. Let's go. By the way, I realized I never even explained why I'm flying from Kuala Lumpur to Bangkok via Singapore. And the answer to that, I guess, is why not? The price was not much higher. Of course, as always, I redeemed points for this flight. So let me quickly explain a little bit more how I did that to get a really great deal compared to paying cash on these flights. No, Sleepy Dan, now is not the time. I'll explain at the end. Stay tuned. I walk around in a slight daze, absolutely in awe of how amazingly beautiful Changi is, and eventually make my way to the Singapore Airlines Business Lounge in Terminal 2. This lounge is starting to show its age, to say the least, especially compared to the beautiful lounge in Terminal 3, but what it lacks in aesthetics, it truly makes up for with food. I'm not huge on Western breakfast, at least if it's not smoothie bowls, so seeing this awesome selection of things like dim sum at 6:30 a.m., it makes my heart warm. A glass of chocolate oat milk paired with a selection of plant-based dumplings is my kind of way to start the day. I end up chilling a little too long, and as usual, end up rushing to my flight. Made it to the gate, let's fly to Thailand. Oops, almost everyone has already boarded when I arrive at the gate. Okay, I got here like 40 minutes before departure, 10 minutes before boarding was supposed to start, and the gate is empty. Today we're on another A350, the luxury, but we're in their regional configuration this time. I know some people prefer this, I personally far prefer the long haul cabin, but hey, this is also awesome in just about every way. In my typical style, I'm in the mini cabin behind the second set of doors. My seat, 20A, is closer to the windows and frankly much better than the seats in odd-numbered rows. Again, I pop over to the lavatory, which contains all the goods we could possibly want on this flight and on most longer ones. So with that inspected, let's also inspect our menu for today. This is relatively standard for an intra-Asian flight regardless of the airline. It's just that Singapore Airlines elevates everything to that next level with crew that addresses you, or me in this case, by name on a 2-hour flight. So it's time to settle in. Okay, we got a big pillow. Not the same as yesterday, interestingly. Guess it has to do with the configuration and a blanket. Of course, we also get hot towels. I know some of you guys associate these with me, so can I just make a public service announcement or clarification? I would never use these on my face. They're not that clean and also incredibly drying, so hands are the only way to go. Now I take the chance to look around my seat a little more as I enjoy SQ's boarding music. Can't believe it took me so long to mention that. And then we push back during this outrageous sunrise. As per usual, I get an urge to start crying when their safety video plays. Not sure what that's about. Oh my god, it's the most beautiful sunrise outside right now and a sunny day in Singapore. We taxi out toward the runway with only flights bound for Bangkok ahead of us, which again is where we're also heading, and have another small moment of overwhelming gratitude to be on an airline I actually enjoy across the board. This is frankly not that common for me since I'm a harsh critic. Then we blast off on this stunning morning with sweeping views of Singapore. After takeoff, I check out the menu on the in-flight entertainment screen just for giggles, and then connect to free onboard Wi-Fi to text Oscar, who's traveling solo in Japan. The meal service is something I'm always dying to experience out of Singapore, and today, as usual, it doesn't disappoint. I always pre-order the vegetarian Oriental meals on Singapore Airlines. You can choose way more options on Cook the Book if you want, but this always just hits right for me. Besides these plant-based shumai, this is some sort of almost overwhelmingly fragrant and spicy turnip cake. It's served with a side of fruit and orange juice and a Vita Soy, which I pour in my coffee. I spend the rest of the flight dozing off while trying to work, and before I know it, just like that, the flight is already coming to an end. We're approaching Bangkok. We got 10 minutes longer than average flight time, which to me, I'm like, yay! So let's see. Starting our approach now. Bangkok can always be a bit busy, so see if we have to circle a bit, but I think around 8 in the morning it's not too bad. Combining two faves by flying Singapore Airlines to Thailand is pretty much as good as it gets for me. Yeah, I'm not really happy to be leaving this flight, but I'm also dying to get out and eat here in Bangkok. Okay, welcome to Thailand. Thailand feels like kind of my fourth home, third or fourth home, because I think this is my 21st time here. I'm going to talk more about the flight in a second, but I just can't fathom how SQ cabin crews are so good. Wow, made it through immigration in record speed. I'm about to go meet my friends, some of my oldest friends from when I was 9 years old. We're spending 8 days traveling to Thailand and Vietnam. We're gonna do it pretty intensely, but it's their first time here, so I'm super excited for that. I just have to say, I'm blown away by how Singapore Airlines does it, because yes, the flight attendant taking care of me was incredible. She addressed me by name the whole time. But as I'm getting off, one of the crew members who literally only served me my soy milk, a little packet of soy milk, he also said goodbye at the door and addressed me by my last name. The crew are just unbelievable, so top notch. The food was great, the seat is great. The combination of the incredible service and everything being a little bit premium. It's not that it's so over the top, but like, the lavatory is just beautiful. The orange juice is high quality. The food is good. It's the higher quality of things that makes Singapore Airlines a truly fantastic option. I'm so happy I didn't just fly direct. I took a bit of a detour and it was so worth it. Although I wish I'd got a little more sleep last night. So let's head out. Quick reminder that you can change the way you travel forever. Skip AirAsia, go in Singapore Airlines business. I promise you really won't regret it when you're sitting there drinking a nice drink, being so well taken care of. You can scan the QR code, check the link at the top of the description, and until I see you in my next video, fly safe. Okay, it's finally time after the whole video to tell you guys how I paid for this. I used Air Canada Aeroplan points. I've talked about this so many times, and if you want to learn how to do it, you can do it with my free video guide right here. It's an intro to my Points Master program where I have now taught hundreds of people how to go from beginner to expert in buying and redeeming points. Some conversations I've had recently have taught me I shouldn't go too much into detail here because the airlines are watching and I don't want to spread this information too wide by saying I paid this amount instead of this amount. But for this flight, I saved a ton using the techniques I teach in my Points Master program. Check that out at the QR code now at the second link in the description below if you want to learn how to travel like I do. If you have any more questions once you've entered your email and you've received your free mini course, you can book a call with one of my Points Master experts to have any questions you might have answered. And on that note, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video very soon.